Bonjour.
And she said there were some days when you two were the only people I would speak to. So that was very moving. I cried. And that for me was quite a humble moment because it reminded me of why we do what we do, what our values are, and just quite the impact that just our little coffee and cake shop had on people's lives. And we won't forget that. And that, I think, will keep us grounded in whatever we do next. For us, coffee and cake is community rather than anything else.
Hello and welcome back to Breaking Bread, the Birmingham food podcast presented by Food Obsessed Mates, Liam and Carl. I'm Liam, that's Carl.
Alright.
How you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, buzzing. How are you?
Yeah, good. We have been out a stupid amount. Well, I say we've been out, but we've been invited to loads, haven't we? Like, this is ridiculous.
I was just looking at the list. Two of the big things we've done were invites, so I'm going to get that out there. It hasn't cost us a fortune to do these things.
Yeah, hashtag ad and all that shit.
No, but we've done... the things we've done are great. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well get straight into it, man. I mean, that trip to Manchester last week, along with the trip to Dishoom a few years ago, this is like...
It's one of the best things we've done.
It's one of them kind of pinch me moments, like, what a load of fun that is.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to go up to Manchester to try out Albert's Schloss. I think that's the name. I'm so bad at saying it.
I don't know if I've ever
Albert's
said it right. Like,
either way, everyone knows about it. It's a big famous bar in Manchester that's absolutely cracking, and there's opening one in Birmingham, so we got to go and try out the one in Manchester.
I was told by quite a few people that it is the place to go in Manchester, and I thought, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Of
sceptical.
course.
I was like, yeah, you would say that, like, blah, blah, blah.
We'll see. We're going on a Tuesday. Let's have a look at it. When we get there on a Tuesday, there's a queue outside.
Like a Friday night,
It
wasn't
was
it?
mental. It was absolute carnage. And as the sober one between us, I was like, it was getting later and later, so it got to like 1 o'clock, and I thought, it's still crazy.
Yeah,
I'm looking
so
round.
much fun.
There's still people dancing on the tables. There's still people doing shots. It's a Tuesday night. I'm like, what is going on?
Birmingham, you're in for a treat with this bar. It's so good. So much fun. They put so much effort in as well. Like, there's entertainment nearly every night of the week. and
Not
the
nearly. There is
entertainment's-
entertainment every single night, mate.
And the entertainment, they've got like choreographers and everything set out for this. Like, they put so much effort into everything they do. The entertainment's phenomenal. They bake their own bread, and they get up. There's piss chefs in the kitchen like 4 a.m. making the bread. And
Yeah, to put, like, for me, that was the biggest surprise. I mean, like, the entertainment, I'd heard that was like notorious. Everyone knows about how much fun Albert's Schloss is. But the food, I was like, yeah, I know how these places work. And then we got there, and they were like, do you want to come and see the kitchen? And I was like, yeah, of course I want to go and see a kitchen. That's my place. I want to go and see that. Got down there, I was really impressed. Lots of little chefs doing their little things.
cracking kitchen, really
Massive
big.
bakery. I was like, what's going on there? And they were like, yeah, we make all our own bread. I was like, all of it? And they were like, yep.
Yeah, and it's
Burger.
available. It's like for sale as well, so you can just pop in and go and buy some nice bread if you want.
Yeah, they're on about doing like a bakery side of things where they just have like a little display of bread and stuff like
Giant
that.
pretzels, they were ace.
It was really impressive. But you had the currywurst platter.
Yeah, so I had the normal food. All the food, everyone's food looked unreal. Especially some people had this pork knuckle, and that looked phenomenal.
I definitely
They all said
I was
it was
a
great.
bit jealous of the pork knuckle, to be honest.
Yeah, I was a bit jealous, to be honest. But I had a currywurst platter. There was like 2 giant sausages on chips covered in curry sauce and all this stuff, and pickles. So it was fantastic.
It was nice.
Really
It was
good.
really
Would you have
nice.
a hot dog?
I had the Kaiser dog, or something like Kaiserwurst. Heavily influenced by the manager of the Birmingham branch.
yeah. Nice fella.
He was so enthusiastic about this Kaiserwurst. So I was like, I've got to try it, man. I'm glad I did because
Enthusiastic about everything. I think I went through every beer on the menu
Yeah, he's a nice bloke.
and every shot. That's it. They make their own schnapps in house as well. Well, they flavour their own schnapps in house, and the flavours are unreal. I know because I tried all of them several times.
What was it? The Pilsner's unpasteurised. Comes in.
Comes
delivered
straight
every
from the
day.
place, yeah, and they fill it up like with a fire hose and fill it up. And just that one beer, I think they said they get through like 600 pints a week or something like that. Just the one. And bear in mind, the beer list is a proper beer list. There's loads of beers that they sell.
It was class. I was really impressed. Absolutely.
Yeah, cracking entertainment. And it's like quite got a heavy sort of vibe for everyone. Like there's something for everyone. So there's a big LGBTQ
Yeah.
plus sort of vibe to it as well, and everyone's mixing. And I think with the side we have in Birmingham, we could really use a place like that.
It was really nice to see that there was 18-year-olds, there was a few 60-year-olds. It was like something for everyone, wasn't it?
Yeah, old, young, trampy, posh. Like it's like everyone. It's like absolutely everyone you can imagine was in this place. All loving the cabaret, because we went. It was a cabaret night.
Yeah, that was great fun.
It was
They were real talented as well. They weren't like two bob amateurs. They were professionals, man.
Yeah, well, we've got some cracking cabaret in Birmingham, so hopefully they're all signed up to work for this new place.
Yeah, definitely. That was obviously our favourite BR company, The Relationship. Probably shouldn't say that, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for inviting us to that.
Yeah, they're really good to
Becky
us.
did a great job of
Man,
keeping everyone.
herding cats, man. I don't know how she did it. I have no idea how she managed to keep us all in line.
She done a cracking job.
Very impressed.
Another invite from The Relationship. I couldn't go. You went.
Yeah, so there's a new place, a new VR place, like escape rooms type thing in Birmingham called In a Box.
In a box.
In a Box.
In a box.
In a Box 3, it's called. I don't know what 3. I did ask and then I forgot again. This is the only one. It's not like the third one, which I thought. Yeah, it's great. It's proper freaky. Like you have to like escape rooms. I'm not a big fan of escape rooms, but even I enjoyed this. Basically, you put this headset on and stuff, and you're walking around. And you walk around. It's not just like sitting down, and the environments are all match what you're seeing inside.
So there's like wind blowers and
Wind blowers. Where there's a wall, there's a wall. A lot of the time. Where there's a ramp, there's a ramp. It's like so you proper walking around with VR, and you do bump into a few things, but I bumped into my missus a couple of times. But there's someone following you in the background that makes sure you don't like really hurt yourself or stuff like that. But it's like after a couple of minutes, you feel like you're in this game.
sounds cool. Completely immersive like experience.
Yeah, and it's one of them things. It's only going to get better.
Yeah, we're at the start of the whole kind of VR and 4D kind of.
Oh yeah, we'll be a Black Mirror in no time at this rate. A couple of years, full Black Mirror.
They have a bar there.
Yeah, they've got a bar, like in the waiting area. They've decked the bar out pretty similar to the games and stuff like that. And they've got different games coming. I think they've got a new one coming for Halloween.
Oh yeah, good place for like
a scary
stag.
one. Yeah,
Christmas
if you're at
party.
like Christmas party, work party, group of friends, you want to go and do something. Digbust's the place to go and do stuff now. Anyway, you've got table tennis, you've got mini golf, you've got absolutely everything to do there now.
Digbust's the place, man.
Just waiting for Laser Quest.
Yeah, Laser Quest to return, but like a proper like VR 4D one.
Nah, I want to look adults full on Laser Quest, no kids allowed. But no, I highly recommend people going. If you like VR, it's worth going just to try out the VR, and it's not really that expensive to go to either. Like a decent price.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Another thing I was invited to was our friends.
Another mention, here it comes.
Ex-Little Blackbirds, now Le Petit Bois. Ben and Sophia, they launched this week and they invited me over just to have a little taste of some of their dishes. Unbelievable.
Oh, I was gutted. I was in Bradford on a course for work.
Oh, it was so good, mate.
It
Yeah.
looked amazing.
It was impressive. Like, we've always trusted and been fans of Ben's cooking, Sophia's hospitality, their wine selection. They have good taste. And then I thought, I wonder how it's going to be adapted to this kind of French concept. And they've done a stunning job, It feels very authentic. And then it's got that kind of Ben quality to it, if you know what I mean.
Ben quality.
Ben quality.
Ben seal of approval.
It's just, all I can see me just like going through Moseley and debating to myself, will I stop and have a plate of mussels? Will I just stop? Yeah, I'm just going to stop and have like a beer and a plate of mussels.
Why not?
It's that kind of place. They've actually got like benches in the window. Not very big, but they're not booking them out. So if you're just strolling through Moseley and you fancy like steak fit or bowl of mussels, glass of wine. Look out onto Moseley, that's the place, man. I was really impressed with it. Done great job in the interior and all that. Really hope it does well for him.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go myself. I'm going to book and go as soon as I can. I've been to the Houghton Turner Brewery a couple of times recently. I've been when Soul Food were there, but the Meats Bun have literally just moved in a couple of weeks ago. So now you can go. And this brewery is fantastic. They've got all their own beers and a couple of other local beers on as well. So they're sharing the love.
Cool.
And it's a proper brewery, like sitting in there with the tanks and everything like that. And they specialise in showing the rugby, which is fucking perfect for me because I love the rugby.
Yeah.
So you can sit there, watch the rugby, proper beer. Now Meats Bun's there, so you can have one of the best burgers in Birmingham as well. Like the beer list was huge, cracking place.
And I was excited about it. I didn't really notice it, to be honest. It kind of went under my radar a little bit. And then you told me about it, and you told me that they focused on the rugby and the NFL, and then I was excited.
NFL, yeah.
And then when I seen then that Meats Bun was going there, Chris, I was like, fuck, this is like perfect.
I was going to say, you've got a good choice for you. Like good non-alcohol beer.
The Super Bowl, wait till the Super Bowl comes, I'm going.
I'd imagine they're going to do something for that. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, if Chris can stay and make burgers for the Super Bowl, that'd be even better.
You know what? I'd book the day off and make it worth going as well.
Yeah, I'm going to book it. I think I'm going to book it and go. I think it's one of them cool things.
I'll just go and drink and eat.
On to today's episode.
Yeah, on to the actual episode, yeah.
Absolutely cracking episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, a big thanks to Farah and Rory from Pause for doing this. It was a really good podcast. It went really well. They're such nice people. We had a great laugh. We even went for dinner after with them. We had that much fun.
Well, I know we say this all the time, but they feel like our friends now, don't they?
Yeah. This happens a lot with us.
It's definitely the best part of the podcast is like meeting friends. Like it's just we feel so connected to them now. Like, and we laughed loads, and it was such a fun episode. But Rory, absolutely like balls deep in coffee, man.
And there's nothing he doesn't know about coffee at all.
He loves it, man. It's brilliant. Like, just listening to him talk about coffee, like, I was like, oh, man. I would buy it. Just take my money and recommend me a coffee, Rory.
Yeah. Bear in mind, like, his coffee is great as well, and there's always different coffees, so there's always reasons to go back and try a different coffee.
I want to try the Hemingway. I had the special on last week. Hemingway. I thought that looks class.
You're going today, aren't you?
Yeah, I am going after this podcast. I'm going to try and get a Hemingway and a Cinnabuffin. Oh,
what an invention.
What an invention. So we hear the story of the Cinnabuffin. What a story that is. So yeah, obviously the other half of the podcast, Farah. What a story. I mean, she was a lawyer.
Yeah, great job, yeah.
Yeah, and then it wasn't even, it's not...
Lockdown hit, wasn't it?
Lockdown.
I mean, you'll hear the story, but it's an impressive turn of events.
And if you've ever ate like any of her bacon or the Cinnabuffins, just what a talent, man. Like,
oh yeah, her bacon's fantastic. She's
unbelievable.
Really
yeah, next level. So yeah, really hope you enjoy this episode. If you do enjoy it, don't forget to like and subscribe or follow us on Spotify. It means you get the next episode straight into your inbox and really helps us spread the word about Birmingham and how great Birmingham is. Really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Farah and Rory. Welcome to Breaking Bread. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, very well, thanks.
Good.
Cool, good to see you.
Doing well.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, thank you.
It's always weird, that, isn't it? Because we've been talking for like 10 minutes. Like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we'd just turned around and just gone, do you know what? No, it's not going well. We really want to unpack this here right now.
I'm really tempted one day just to hit play, like the second setup, and just start. So we record the pre-conversation as well.
Well, I'm waiting for one day where we say like, "Oh, how's things?" and then they just unleash.
Oh man!
Right.
Oh yeah! Like someone's either sobbing or they've got somebody's really annoyed them.
Yeah, that would be it. Like, I'm still
Delivery
waiting
didn't
for
come in
that time.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
I keep
happens?
saying this. We've been so lucky with everyone we've interviewed. Like everyone's been golden with
Damn,
us.
that's why we do this podcast, because Birmingham's full of special people, isn't it? Like,
It's good vibes.
mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both Birmingham born and raised.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a reason that people stay here. It's like the people are just really nice and super friendly. And I mean, I can't think of anywhere else in the country I'd want to go right now. Like, or have a business or just live in general.
You always from Birmingham, did you say? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was born in Acox Green, lived here. I moved out for a few years, and then I came back to do my undergraduate. And then since I've always been in Birmingham. When I came back, it just felt like coming home. So because I moved out to Worcestershire, of all places, and everything closes at 3:30. So like coming back into the city was really good.
What did you study at uni?
Oh, like same thing that everybody who does coffee does. I did like a liberal arts degree, and as you can see, it went really well. But no, I really enjoyed it. But then I was doing working in coffee shops and then doing arts work, and the arts work just started to suck, and I hated it. And then I found a lot of enjoyment in the coffee that I wasn't getting, and all of a sudden it shifted. Instead of doing the coffee to support my arts work, I was doing the arts work to make a little bit of money whilst I enjoyed the coffee stuff. And then eventually I just dropped the arts work, and just kind of committed to being a total coffee nerd.
What was it, just a lifelong fascination with coffee always? Or?
No, not at all. It was, I needed a job for my undergraduate, and I lied through my teeth to get a job at like the first coffee shop that I ever worked at, Urban Coffee on Church Street in Colmoro. And then I got there on the first day, and they were like, "So just so you know, we want you to do it our way. So we're going to train you up from nothing." And I was like, "Okay." And inside, I'm like, "Yes, this is amazing." And then I just slowly started to just like fall in love with like the intricacies and the little details and how much there was to learn about this subject. And then found that I had a level of proficiency in it, and then I just started going into it and just carrying on doing what I was doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Farah, Birmingham?
Well, actually, I was born in London, but moved to Birmingham when I was about 3. So I think I am a Brummie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself
Yeah.
a Londoner. So I've grown up here, and like Rory, I did my undergrad in Birmingham as well, because we've got some really good universities, and I wanted to do law with French, which is what I went on to study. And I really wanted a year in Paris, and Birmingham was the uni to go to get that. So that was my strategic thought process. So yeah, definitely a big fan of the city. And when I graduated, I did think about moving to London, but I was so in love with the city, and there was so much going on here that I decided to stay. And
What
probably
particularly? Like,
one of the best decisions.
what particularly was it about Birmingham you enjoyed?
I think because everything is so central, and there's just such a good like depth and breadth of things to do. We've got culture, we've got arts, there's restaurants, there's the symphony orchestra, we've got the botanical gardens. You can get to any of the bit of the country that you want to go to really easily. And when I graduated, the independent scene, I guess, was sort of starting out, and more young people were coming to Birmingham. A lot of my friends from uni were from London, and they were like, we don't actually feel like leaving. So when it came to deciding where to set down roots, I had like really cool people around me in a city that I really loved. So it was just a bit of a no-brainer to stay, really. I'm really glad that I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you two come to meet?
Well,
Funnily enough, we met in a coffee shop.
yeah, which is
Course.
which some people would say is really cool. Some people might say it's really cliche, but it is
Yeah.
just how we met.
It can be both, sure.
Sure. Why not? We're all friends here.
Yeah. So I was, it was Quarter Horse on the Bristol Road.
Yeah.
And I used to supply them with brownies and cakes. So I used to be one of their bakers. And I was in one Saturday to do a delivery, and the normal thing for Quarter Horse to do is to give all their suppliers like a coffee. So I would normally come in, deliver cakes, sit down, have a flat white, and then get on with the rest of my day. And I just happened to sit next to him, and he was eating a brownie that I'd made. And me being the chatterbox that I am, just went, I made that. And he was like, it's really good. And we just got chatting. I think
Yeah.
we added each other on Instagram and then didn't really chat. But then I think a couple of months later, I walked in to do a delivery one day and he was behind the bar working there. And I was like, I know you. I've met you before.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah,
just really light touch.
became friends, yeah.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, I started working at Quarter Horse. You were still you were making cakes for them at the time.
Yeah,
And
So how long ago was this?
2017.
yeah,
It's not too long ago.
not a
Yeah,
huge
4
amount of
years
time. But yeah, at the time.
Feels like forever ago though.
Yeah,
That feels like
yeah.
a lifetime ago.
Like
You said that smiling, so it's not like, it feels like a lot.
Definitely. It's flown by, and then we really only sort of kind of got to know each other maybe like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think
Like-
from 2018 we started like hanging out and just go for food really.
Yeah.
It's got to be longer ago then that you were making brownies and stuff. Then
No,
yeah,
4 years.
mad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Quick turnaround to being like I made that to being like we have
We have a business
yeah,
together.
we have a full-fledged business.
It's crazy.
And-
It's really crazy.
Yeah, but also it feels like a natural progression. Like the two of us both do two parts of a coffee shop and bakery business. We get on incredibly well,
Yeah.
and I think we both have similar expectations and goals for what it is that Pause is now, what it could be for the future, and you know, if those values and those goals don't line up, I think that's where people start to unravel a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, makes sense. How did you get into the baking?
It's just something I've always loved. So when I was I think 7 or 8, I tried to make a cake because I was bored one day. My auntie was like, "Do you want to make a cake?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it literally came out looking like a pie crust. It was rubbish. But my granddad had like such a sweet tooth, and he encouraged it. He was like, "That's the best cake I've ever had. You should make another one." And I did. So I used to bake for him basically from the age of about 8. Carried on. Really loved home ec at school. But yeah, he was my favourite person to bake for, and he never really liked icing, so it was always about making a really good cake that he'd like with a cup of tea, and then also for my family, but mainly for my granddad. And then when I got to university, I started experimenting with brownies, and since then baking's just been like a creative outlet. It's something that I find very calming, and it makes people happy. People like cake. So I was always the person that I used to work in an office. So I'd always go in with things that I'd made at the weekend that I didn't need at home. So it's always been a hobby. But it became a full-time job for me during lockdown. So I really struggled with working from home. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't like being at my kitchen table at a computer. It wasn't for me. So I ended up having some time off and then leaving. And then
Sorry, what was it you did?
I was a lawyer.
You were an actual
Yeah,
lawyer,
solicitor, yeah. And
Wow.
it's quite a change. But it's something that I'd always wanted to do, but it's just I never thought I'd make the leap because I had such an established, like, serious job that it's not. I mean, I know a few people that have done it. I just never thought I'd be brave enough to make the leap. And I think were it just me by myself, I wouldn't have done it. But having Rory sort of there with me and us doing this project together just made it sort of a no-brainer. But I definitely wouldn't have been brave enough to do it on my own.
So were you selling cakes for money like while you were still at the law firm?
Yeah, I used to do like a really small amount. So I would supply Quarter Horse, but like, you know, not a lot, but enough that it was my project on the side, and I really enjoyed it. And that was the thing that I wouldn't mind getting out of bed at 5 a.m. to do.
So how do you even find the time to be a lawyer and
There's a lot of early mornings and late nights.
I don't understand it. I don't know how she did it.
But that's the thing. I think that's when I knew it was such a passion of mine. When I wouldn't mind getting up at 5 in the morning to do some baking before I went to work. It just wasn't a problem. I was quite happy to get out of bed to do that. But so that the enthusiasm was always there. But it's just making a career out of it. It's such a big jump. But I think it was it was just now looking back now, it feels like a no-brainer. I don't know if when we were having the conversations at the end of 2020? Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah.
About going for it. I think we just went for it. Just went like, what have we got to lose? Nothing really. Sink or swim. And if it doesn't work, it is. But I've also always got a career. I've got a qualification. I'm always going to be a solicitor, so I've got it to fall back on. So I guess I've got that safety net.
So when you made the leap, how was the reaction with like close friends, family?
Well, I'd sort of made the leap once before. I'd had a year, about 9 months away from law back in 2015. So I don't think people were too surprised. Okay. But yeah, we've had like a lot of support. My parents were probably a little bit worried because it's going into like an unstable job. But most people that we spoke to were really excited. But we didn't really tell a lot of people either, to be honest. It wasn't a massively publicised thing. We were just like, let's try a pop-up. So we gave it a go, and then we told people, and people were really excited. And we got a lot of support from our friends. Lots of people came to visit in our first week, and over the coming months. And then I think when we started talking about the Bourneville space and sharing pictures, I think there was a whole different level of excitement purely because the space is so gorgeous. So when we shared pictures of all the flowers and the pink and where it is, I think there was a lot of excitement then.
Oh, people went crazy. It was mental. Like the thing about us starting Pause was that it was 100%. We really did not talk about it at all. But I think part of that was because we didn't have the time to. The reality of it was that you stepped away from a career as a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And as soon as lockdown had hit, I'd actually stopped working in coffee shops and I'd started consulting for newly opened and established businesses as like a coffee consultant. And did my first project. Everything was going really well. And then lockdown hit, and obviously that work was about as useful as like a ashtray on a motorbike. Like no one needed a consultant. So it was doing bits here and there, and then you decided to leave your legal career, and it was just a cocktail of wanting to do something new and exciting and super fun with somebody that I get we both trust wholeheartedly, and also needing to do something to bring some money in, at a very, very like sort of real level. Like it had like a financial, there was definitely a big financial reason behind us doing it as well, which I think has happened for a lot of people over lockdown. Like I think it has been
survival, isn't it?
It's just been it's been a year and a half to 2 years of just pure survival, people doing what they have to do, and we're quite fortunate in that we've had to be or we have been the company that's kind of blossomed out of it.
Oh yeah, when you think back to when we started, we didn't have a vision of what it would turn into. We just hoped we'd make enough money to pay our bills, and like the cups still are hand stamped, and it was okay, where do we go to buy stuff that we put our cakes in? Booker, okay, how do we shop there? Like we've never done this. So as early as January this year, I can't believe Pause isn't even a year old. It feels like it's been we've been doing it for longer, but it was just selecting packaging, going to Nisbets, buying things, and just going for it.
Opening on one day and going, oh yeah, cool, we have nothing to give people cake in.
It was, there was no
Napkins?
great master plan. It wasn't like, oh, this project was 6 months in the making. It was literally a week. I think we viewed probably we went in on Wednesday to look at the space, and we were open by the following Monday.
Yeah, we did it it was a 6-day turnaround from talking to, because we did a couple of pop-ups. We did one in Stirchley at Verbena, who are just phenomenal, and
we've both eaten there recently.
Just so fantastic food,
unbelievable, great team, great ethos, and Chloe couldn't open at the time. I mean, she's your
Chloe approached us and said, would you do a pop-up for a month, because she was due to open last August, and then because of lockdown she couldn't, and she had rent to pay, and she needed to do some kind of lunch offering, and she said, would you support by doing coffee? And we said yes. And we did that on a stage.
Well, we did this on like a
Home
tiny
machine.
home coffee machine. A drink took like 6 minutes to make.
It did take 6 He's exaggerating.
It was like it felt like
It felt like
yeah. And like Farah's like bagging cake up, being like, "Here you go, enjoy." And I'm like, "Slow down, like, like talk to them about something." And we did that event, and then we did one at a one-off at the Highfield as well, which was just came out of nowhere. But when we got to doing the 5-month residency at Artefact on Pershore Road, we spoke to them on day one, and by day 6, 7, we were open, operating with like, you were running around doing all of the paperwork to get it so that we could actually open and have like a business bank account and all the things that we never would have considered, because we'd done like a little bit now, and we were like, we need to sort this. And then I was just cleaning the entire premises because they hadn't used it for like a year and a half as an art space. But saying it all out loud, like, oh yeah, I can't believe that we've only been doing this since about January. Like, it's that's insane.
You share the shop, don't you?
Yeah. So we are housed within Isherwood and Co. In Bourneville now, and it was just when things line up, you know, like sometimes like there is a percentage of luck in these sorts of things.
I think ours is overwhelmingly luck.
Yeah,
We've been really lucky.
Yeah,
I think you've been modest.
I think there's I mean we talked about this like a couple of weeks ago. I think thank you for that, but there is when we set up and when we started doing that 5-month residency in Artefact, we opened in conditions that no one has ever opened a business before in, and we opened a business which was one of the only things that you could do for like 3 months was go for a walk and grab a cake and a coffee in an area that didn't have cake and coffee.
Yeah.
Our like the reason we have like the followers that we do on socials, yes, there's, you know, some work, there is work that goes into that and curating that, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't just kind of acknowledge the fact that people literally couldn't do anything, and we became like a huge thing that became part of people's day to day, week to week at a really uncertain time.
Yeah, when we were looking to close down at Artefact, we by then in 5 months we developed our regulars, our locals that would come on their walk. I remember one of our busiest weekends being when it snowed, because people were so excited to get out into the snow, and they knew they had somewhere where they could get a drink.
And they want a hot coffee
a hot coffee, and then go for a walk in the snow. Those were the days where we were like, no one's going to come in, and we were just swept off our feet. So
it's fine. We can open a bit late.
Yeah, there's so much that we couldn't predict because everything was against the grain because of lockdown. Lockdown was such a weird time, and for 3 months it was, you could only go out for a walk. When we opened, you could go for a walk with one person from another household. Like, do we remember that time? That feels like
I remember it.
So we were on people's routes, and then we got chatting to people. We made a decision to allow people to come in. At one point we were thinking of doing service at the door, because that's what a lot of places were doing, and it was actually Leo that said no, like, be at the coffee machine taking orders, because people will want to come in and chat to you guys. And so we were like, okay, we'll do that, and we did, and we made friends with people that were in the local neighbourhood. And actually that was probably one of the most moving things to happen at the close of the Artefact pop-up, because everybody came in to say their goodbyes, and people were like, thank you so much. They were Paula, one of my favourites, she had a baby during lockdown. Like my sister in Dubai, who I've not met my niece yet, she had a baby, really cut off from her family. She's from Poland. Her husband works at the QE, so she was really limited in who she could have contact with. And she said there were some days when you two were the only people I would speak to. So that was very moving. I cried. And that for me was quite a humble moment, because it reminded me of why we do what we do, what our values are, and just quite the impact that just our little coffee and cake shop had on people's lives. And we won't forget that. And that, I think, will keep us grounded in whatever we do next. For us, coffee and cake is community rather than anything else. It's about, and we're in a neighbourhood now where we're meeting new people. Our friends from Stirchley are still coming to see us.
Yeah, you're not far from Sturgis.
We're part of
It's
people,
a
the fabric of that
little area
community.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paula was our first customer.
Yeah, she's our first
through the
regular.
door,
Yeah.
like at our first tiny pop up at Verbena. She was the first person through the door to come and see us.
Yeah.
And she was one of the first people to come and see us when we were at Stirchley. And she continues to come and see us now. All of the sort of the branding around Pause and like why it's called Pause. I mean, Farah did an absolute blinding job on like the branding and making us look as professional as we definitely weren't at the start. Oh, what a nice looking brand. But that idea of like stopping, you pause, you take a moment, and that level of normality that going and grabbing a coffee and a cake represents is wholly cemented in like what we're trying to do, and I don't think there's ever gonna be a time where that will disappear, because we are like, our origin story is at a time where like we saw like a peak in loneliness across like the entire world, and we opened a thing where we were just kind of, we genuinely just wanted to be like, hey,
Come in for a chat.
come on, yeah, come in for some community, some care,
But
some
it was-
coffee and cake.
But it was called Pause because people couldn't stop. They couldn't
Yeah.
stay, they couldn't come in, they couldn't sit in. It was just a brief pause, and that's why we called it Pause, because it sort of reflected the nature of our pop up, and the name, people seemed to really like it. We weren't sure if we were going to
great
keep
name.
it. Thank you.
Great.
So we'll keep it, but that's why Chloe, Rory, and I were sat around a table. I was like, "What should we call it?" And that's how we came up with it. It was because people can't stay for now.
You were in Sturchley at like a time where like it felt like a wave had just come in, like all of a sudden great things have started happening in Sturchley. Like,
Yeah.
how did it feel to be a part of that?
Incredible. It definitely was. There was such a buzz around Sturchley, and there still
It
is.
still is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We were there for dinner, I think, 2 weeks ago, and just people spilling out onto the street and just chatting, and there's music, and it's lovely. I think, we definitely felt really, really lucky to be there again. I think we wouldn't have had the response that we had from anywhere but Stirchley, because people from Stirchley love to get behind independence. They love to support their high street, and they're really interested in people too. It's not so much about I don't think it's about the product or the name. It's just it's a proper community.
Yeah.
It's got a proper village feel to it.
Yeah.
Even though
It's
like
lovely.
most of it comes off like it's just roads coming off one big major road on the Pershore Road, like that whole area. Like we were, when we talked about when we were gonna like look for somewhere to do
Yeah.
the pop up and be pause. I guess for like the first time, it just, one of the first places that I said was like Stirchley is just crying out for something here, and the only reason and that had nothing to do with like what we thought of ourselves. It was the fact that you've got Ming and Eat Vietnam over here, you've got the guys from Alicia Micro Bakehouse, you've got Josh at Glass House up the road, and then you've got the guys at Attic, and it's all just started building and building and building. And I don't actually think as long as things don't change too quickly outside of like the businesses that people own, I think Stirchley it's really just going to keep taking off.
Well, it's my
Like,
favourite place to go out at the moment, Sturchley.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, Eat
Same.
Vietnam's just one of my favourite restaurants. Couch and all the people there.
There's
like,
so many
Couch
people.
is my favourite bar
Couch
in the world.
is like because we were next door for them for 5 months. The level of support that we received from the team at Couch, and just them coming in. Yes, they'd grab cake and a coffee and stuff, but actually the chats that we would have, the little insights they'd give us, they gave us like the lay of the land and what Stirchley was like, and a little window into the community. The support that we got from Couch was monumental in our success, because when people would want to come, like on a Saturday, they'd open early. If they didn't have any seats, they'd just send people our way. And in the same way, we would talk about them when their doors were closed, and there was this lovely sort of symbiotic relationship between us. And it also helps that they're absolutely unbelievably brilliant people.
Yeah.
Like, they're the nicest people.
No, it's the nicest. It's not just the nicest drinks. It's just the nicest bar to be in, because they're so friendly. Like, I know them now, but before I didn't know them. It was so like you could just get chatting about anything and they'd singing and joking. It's like I could talk about Couch for hours.
Yeah,
How great a place it is.
It's brilliant. My favourite Couch memory was when they had, I think Casey had 1,000 cocktail and snack boxes to get out, because somebody put in a mass order for an event they were doing virtually. So she had to send out the delivery boxes of drinks and snacks. Verbena made the snacks, so Chloe had to make 1,000 gougere. But they physically didn't have enough space in their shop. So Verbena, Couch and we were like floor to ceiling these boxes, and Katie would come in every like couple of hours with like a clipboard to make more notes and just go, okay, that's there, and then do the same next door. And for me, that encapsulates the Stirchley spirit of like everybody working together and helping each other however they can. And there's none of like, this is our shop and this, like, we were in somebody else's space. But there's just that collective spirit, which I think is what makes Stirchley so great.
Well, I think it's in a great spot as well. The fact that you're not likely to get any chain places really there, because everything there is quite
very
small
vocal.
little spot.
I think Tesco have been trying to get in, Costa have been trying, but it just wouldn't go well. Yeah.
But there's a thing about how, specifically in Birmingham, how the wards of Birmingham have developed, right? And it's the same thing every time. And this is like my worry for Stirchley, is that what you do is you get artists and creatives move to an area when it's quite cheap, because that's what they can afford to live in. They build all of that like community and like faith in each other. And then little independent businesses start popping up, and because they want to support them, they go and support them. So those businesses start doing a little bit better. Then you get like the more independent businesses from Birmingham seeing that, and people starting to travel in, and then everybody else starts travelling in because they want to come to this new space, like Moseley, for example, like King's Heath. And then, because the footfall is there, all the big chains start coming in. So they go, cool, well, there's loads and loads of people walking around here. We can justify putting a Costa, a KFC, or whatever on this street. And then house prices start going up. And then those artists and those creatives who kind of like start that, and those people who are all about community then get displaced to move to somewhere else. So I saw it in Moseley, I saw it in King's Heath. And I'm seeing it now in Stirchley, and the big fear is now, having been part of the tapestry of just such a wonderful, beautiful part of Birmingham, is that, and because of things like social media, like things blow up way quicker than when Moseley started taking off, right?
Yeah.
You know, the worry there is that hopefully that Stirchley can hold on to that thing that makes Stirchley so Stirchley.
I think it's got the advantage that everything's a small shop. There's not many big spaces there to put a big Costa. There's not that sort of volume of shops that are just too big where they think, like a Weatherspoons aren't going to open there.
Yeah.
There's nowhere big enough for an old bank or anything there that they can steal.
In the middle, isn't there?
It's going to be a chicken shop.
Look, it happened to Moseley. The Costa seems to take over in the best building there, and people still go out in Moseley. There's
like
places
12
there.
coffee shops now in Moseley.
Yeah.
And I know that one coffee shop, one of the indies in Birmingham wanted to go into Moseley, and it got like vetoed by the Moseley community. Because obviously you slap the sign up in the window saying, hey, we're going to be opening one of these. If you've got an issue, could you just give us a call?
Yeah.
And Moseley were like, we've got enough fucking coffee shops.
Places,
We've just got too many. Give us retail. Give us something where we can actually, like, we've got enough like restaurants and hospitality venues. Give us something. Give us something
the
new.
thing you were saying, the community sort of vibe dies when there isn't shops to fucking go and actually buy anything other than food or drink.
Yeah. Well, one of our customers did one of my favourite stories that we reshared of their Stirchley Hall. So the thing to do on a weekend in Stirchley is to go to everywhere and buy something. So you go to Loaf and get bread. You go to Paws and get a Cinnabon, and you get a sandwich from Can Eat, and you work your way down and get beers from Attic or I don't know any of the other breweries. But somebody posted a picture of their Saturday haul, and I shared it on our story, and one of my customers replied and went, "Oh look, they've completed Stirchley," like it's Monopoly.
Yeah, I used to like doing that though. I like to go to Stirchley and try them all. I'm obsessed with them in it with the chicken and waffles from.
Aren't they just amazing?
Chances.
Yeah. Chances Cafe.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
With that fudge sauce as well.
Not too sweet, sweet enough. With the is it chantilly cream?
Hands down, best waffles in Birmingham. Yeah, big fan. I really want to try the Chinese food.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah. The
that looks
yukasha
great, that
stuff.
Yeah.
Really good. Problem for us is Stirchley's quite far for us. It's not too bad for you to drive, but if I go with the missus, it's like next to Harborne. It's about as far away as I can get anything in Birmingham away from where I live.
Oh god.
So the Siobhan's always like, right, if we're going, we're going to make the most of going. So we go for
make a
the
day of
day and make sure we go for lunch and dinner and try every bar.
There was
Is couch your crush then for in between?
Couch is like, I've got to go. Like, I'd always try and. There's no point me going anywhere after couch. I've
how
can
you?
Gone somewhere after, and it's just been a nightmare. Because the last time I went there, between me and my wife, I think we nearly completed the cocktail menu.
Wow.
Because they were changing it soon, and I was like, right, well, I've got to just complete it, as your friend said. Try and complete it. I think we got through 13 cocktails.
I remember a night where I actually met up with you at Couch, where I'd been to Kilda beforehand.
Yeah.
And somebody had bought me like some ridiculous 12.5% stout at the end, so I was feeling a little bit wavy. And then I got to Couch, and the evening just descended into madness.
That was the night that I learned that Rory could sing. I'd known him for nearly 3 years, and I didn't know that he could belt out Queen in perfect harmony.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's funny because we'd heard that, so we'd actually planned.
Oh, really? Yeah, cue the music, man. Cue it.
Jokes.
I had no idea.
We're lucky in Shirley. We've got a cracking coffee place, haven't we?
Is it Bora?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Bora.
I've got a mate who lives in Shirley, and I told her that Bora was there, and she's from Barcelona, and she was like, I'll try it. I'll see if it's any good. And I'm like, honestly, it's fine. I'm giving you, like, I'm saying that I approve of this place. Go and drink some coffee. Because as you can imagine, like, because I'm insufferable when it comes to coffee. If somebody's like, do you want to go get a coffee? There's like a list of places that I'll go.
Is there an actual physical Rory's approved list?
I don't think there's an approved list. I think there is, however, like, if you ask me where to go, like, I probably got like a few just off the top of my head but it's specific. Like, there's certain things I'll go for at certain places.
Yeah.
And that's, that's just because I'm in Egypt. Like, I'm just like, I wouldn't go here for this, but I'll go here for that.
This is completely anecdotal and very generalistic, but I found a lot of the time, a lot of Europeans, any Europeans that I've spoken to and Australians really don't think we have a decent coffee scene. They're always slagging up our coffee scene like we don't know coffee.
So, I agree with them. I actually agree with them. It's
Shots fired.
Yeah. Look, so this isn't a Birmingham thing. I'm going to say this right now so nobody gets like super angry and offended. But the UK, everyone thinks the UK has like this blindingly brilliant like coffee scene, and the reason for that is we've got a great marketing department. Like, like, it's just we talk about ourselves being like the authority of things very easily, and there are so many coffee shops, not even like coffee cultures, like, that are just killing it on a level that we just aren't at the moment, because it's not just about running a business, it's the passion that underlies it. There's a different metric. If you go to East Asia, there are several, like, I was lucky enough to see the Indonesian coffee culture in like work, and it is a job. it's a passion, it's a craft. So when people go to work, they are putting everything that they can into making every single drink, making every drink matter. And I see that very, very infrequently, kind of in the UK, not because of the work that people are doing, but because it's not treated with the same amount of respect. Like for coffee shop jobs here tend to be a little bit like stopgaps. You get a lot of, so what do you really do? What are you studying? Oh, are you studying at university? What are you doing next? It's not actually, you can't just sit there and go, well, no, this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
It's a bit like bartending, like in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
UK. It's like you'll ask member of bar staff, what are you doing at uni? And they're like, no, this is my job. This is what I do. And
It
whereas
happened
in
to you at
America,
Urban, didn't it?
Yeah, so I worked at when I worked at Urban Coffee, there was a woman sat with who I can only assume was her daughter, and I put drinks down on their table, and they were talking about university. And as I turned away to walk off, her mother kind of gestured at me and said, "If you don't try harder at university, you'll end up like him."
Jesus.
Like that's the
Ouch.
yeah. That's it's a very different mentality. You know, even like you go to Ireland, if you work in a bar and you're a bar manager, that's a respectable job. You can list that alongside any other profession, and people go, yeah, cool, yeah, no worries. Why wouldn't you? Here, there's like a hierarchy of jobs that just don't like.
It's because we've got a ridiculous class system, and it's just embedded into absolutely everything in society.
I'm not sure.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a little bit of that, but then I think
Oh no,
Yeah, there's a
I
class system.
as somebody that went from law to baking, I can assure you there is a snobbery about it. The number of people that turn around to me and said, "When are you going to get a proper job again?" is staggering.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I get comments all the time that even might be well-meaning, but are really insulting, and I find it infuriating because I feel more fulfilled than ever.
Yeah.
This is my craft, it's my passion.
And some people look at it completely
It's
different.
creative work, yeah, and I take a great deal of pride in what I do, and I'm really happy with what I do, and I love my work. I love the work that I'm producing at the moment for Pause. They make those comments, and I don't think most people mean it. I think
No,
I think
they're
it's
probably
ingrained.
Not thinking too much about it. It's just ingrained.
yeah, they'll
Built
say it,
into
but not
it.
think about it, but it stays with me for a while. When you're going to get a proper job, and I'm like, have a vacation now, thank you very much.
Yeah. To go back to what you said before, just so I don't just leave like a horrible taste in some people's mouth, I do think that the UK's got like a really like solid coffee scene. I just think that people put it very, very high up on a list, and actually when you compare it to other cities or other places in the world where like, you know, like Melbourne's got 5,000 high-end coffee shops just in the city. Like that's an incredible culture that's obviously going to have like huge variation, but the number of great coffee shops in that should statistically and is better than a lot of the stuff that we have in the UK because of it. I don't think that I do think that there are a lot of people who are really pushing in the UK, but if the consumer interest isn't there, if we're a nation of tea drinkers mainly, and there's like a big thing to go against, whereas in the States, because they all drink like that percolator diner coffee in a lot of places, when they were like high end quality coffee, people were like, yeah, cool, we can get on board with that. Same in like Norway and Sweden and Japan. Like all of those places have like a bedrock to kind of go somewhere with. We're still trying to go like, maybe don't have a syrup in your coffee, guys. Do you know what I mean? You don't need whipped cream on it. Like there's a big difference there.
But you even say with tea drinkers, which we do get called all over the place, and I'd go through plenty of cups of tea in a day. But we don't have anywhere good to go and get good fucking tea either.
And people don't want to pay
Like,
for
there's
it
no
either.
good
Yeah.
tea shop.
I agree.
I can't think of
Yeah.
anywhere to go and I'll go, oh, their tea's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't... I'm like, no, I've got Twinings English breakfast at home. I'll just have that.
Oh, I'm a Yorkshire.
I used to have the
Go.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire
Yeah, I
tea.
like Yorkshire.
Um,
My wife said it was a bit too
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good taste.
Yeah, I think people don't really want to go out and pay for a cup of tea either, which I think is a real shame because, you know, you've got Asian countries where you've got tea ceremonies.
Yeah.
You can elevate anything. You really can. And I think,
Well, what we get in our tea bags is what they just sweep up off the floor in good tea shops. It is. It's
It's not
just it's
fat.
dust.
Just say that like it's a
No,
fact.
it is. I
Like
watched
you
the program
know.
on it. Yeah, it's a program.
Watch fun programs. So
My dad went to India and he was on about it. He brought back some great tea.
yeah. But
And he
like,
said, what
I've
they put
been
in
to.
the bags here, it's just crap off the floor, basically.
I have a
We're
friend
getting
who calls.
sued for this,
I have
yeah?
a friend who genuinely calls like Kenko and Nescafe and all of like the instant coffees. She's Australian and she refers to it as leaves and twigs because she's just like it's just bits. It's just bits.
It is a disgrace, though, instant coffee. Is there a good instant coffee, Rory?
No. I can't. So I used to be like really prescriptive. When you start anything, you start learning loads, and you get like to think at some point, especially being a white guy, that like you become an authority on something. And I used to be like super prescriptive, and I'd really try to dissuade people from ordering certain things. And it's not on, like it's not, this was like 9 years ago when I started doing all of this sort of stuff. And now it's my mindset's changed. It's like if you can make somebody the thing that they want, like the best version of the thing that they want, with the stuff that you have to hand. Yes, you've got like a brand and you've got all of the drinks that you are happy with, but like how inclusive can you be with that menu? Because as Farah said before, like it's there's community in what we do, and actually you can't really be about community if you're just saying to people like berating people. Like it's, if you want to educate people, do it gently. Like give the information's there if they want it. If somebody just wants to come in and go, can you make me a latte with 2 sugars? Absolutely, yeah, because that's what you want, and really you're paying. Yeah, you can have that drink.
I quite like a zero. I think that's a good instant coffee.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the metal tin.
Annoys him so much. I asked him to make me a zero once.
I had to ask how many teaspoons. I had to ask like I was like, so is it 2 teaspoons?
On the flip side of that, though, it's quite difficult to get, even like with spending quite a few pounds on a decent coffee machine. It's quite hard still to get a decent coffee at home, like.
Yeah.
Unless you're spending like thousands.
Yeah. No, you disagree?
I think it's knowing what to do with it. That's I think it's. We borrowed.
I felt like the pressure, though, kind of, wasn't it something to do with the pressure?
Yeah, I think it's an education thing. Like you can, when somebody will sell you a £400 machine, but not tell you how to use it, and I think that's the issue. I think you could probably use an espresso, and you can get good pods from Kelowna, for example, and get like better quality of coffee with the same equipment.
I'm so impressed, by the way. Like, I've learned so much about baking, and I think like you've learned so much about coffee throughout this that actually, if you've got any baking questions, I am willing to have a go. It's just, you are 100%. Yeah.
We're gonna do lessons, so if you want to come in for a lesson, what have you got? What do you have at home to make coffee?
You know what I use at the minute, just because it's purely simple.
Yeah.
Is I have a grinder.
Yeah.
So I buy whole beans, and then I grind, and then I've got a French press.
No,
amazing.
Love a French press. We also sell whole beans. It's a French press is brilliant because it's such an you can brew them well, you can brew them badly, and actually the difficulty from going from maybe a worse cup of coffee to a better cup of coffee is actually surprisingly easy. It's all about time because it's all contained in one thing. The longer you leave it, the more it's going to extract. So you can set a timer and then pour a bit out, taste it. If you know it tastes good at 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
yeah,
that's it.
10 years ago, I thought there was no science to using a French press. There was nothing that you needed to measure. You did the scoops that the coffee came with, left it for however long we wanted to leave it, and then you got your coffee, and then you added milk to it because it didn't taste good. But I actually went to a class at Quarterhorse on brewing using immersion methods, so an AeroPress and a French press, and then a V60, and then I had a lesson from Rory on a Chemex. I think about 6 months later, and just an hour for each class. It completely changed the way that I made coffee using the equipment that I already had.
Yeah. I watched it. I mean, other than that, obviously that's the best way of doing it. But I just watched a YouTube video. I can't remember the dude's name.
James Hoffman.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I know James.
Yeah, I watched that video, and that's how I brew my coffee. And I'm happy enough with that. I mean, it's definitely not on the same level as going to yourselves and getting a decent latte or a flat white.
Sure,
but it starts your day right, doesn't it?
It's better than any kind of jar of coffee.
It's better than no they
Yeah.
like that, and also they they say there's a right way and a wrong way to brew coffee, right? You ask, you can watch videos by James Hoffman, you can ask someone like me in a coffee shop. At the end of the day, can we all just agree that it's personal preference? Yeah. People go to places that they enjoy because they go in, they eat a brilliant cake, or they might drink a good coffee, and they go, I like it here, so I'm going to come back. Like, nobody tells you that it's good or not. You're basically you're just like eating and drinking something that somebody thinks is the best way to create that thing. Mm-hmm. And if you like it, you go back. And if nobody's going, you probably realise that actually the things that you prefer aren't the things that most people like. Yeah. So if you make your coffee at home in a French press, and it's like you're not timing it, you're not weighing it, you're not using a certain amount of coffee, but you enjoy it, then you're doing it the right way, because ultimately you're the one who's going to drink it. Yeah. So
where do mocha pots rate? Are they good? Because that's what I use.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The stovetops. Yeah, they're Once again, like, do you enjoy them?
Yeah.
Then they're brilliant.
I make super strong coffee with it, like half coffee, half milk.
Yeah. Like there are people, like, you can go into certain coffee shops, even here in Birmingham, and if you name a certain brewing method, they're either going to be like, oh yeah, no, it's really good, or they'll be like, no, that's disgusting. No, that's a terrible method. Ultimately, if you enjoy it, the reason you've asked is because you want to have a conversation about that thing. Why are you making people feel bad about what they want to drink? If somebody comes to see us at Pause and asks for a caramel latte, we don't stock any syrups, but we've got some things on the menu that are like slightly sweeter, a little bit richer, that are still like stuff that we would drink, that we regularly will drink, but just, there's no syrup in it.
You don't have to be a dick about it, is what we're trying to say.
I'm trying to say it really nicely.
Really nicely, but you don't have to be a dick about it. And we are so committed to not being dicks to our customers, because I've been at the brunt of it loads. You probably less so because you work in the industry, but I've been into coffee shops and been made to feel really stupid, and I hate
that
it.
McDonald's advert was I've come across places like them. Do you remember the advert?
Yeah. It was. There were two schools of thought about that advert, like just purely from coffee people and baristas. Some of them were going, "How dare they? They're punching down, and this is awful." And then the other half were going, "Some of you are taking this far too seriously. Like, you need to go out and breathe a little bit."
Like, one thing that's really, really, really important to me is that our coffee shop is a space that's inclusive for everybody, and not just one type of person or one personality or one sect of society. It has to be inclusive and accessible to everyone, because I'm a woman of colour, and when I started drinking good coffee, everywhere in Birmingham was cis-het white men, hipsters that look a certain way and speak a lot, not all of them, a lot of them spoke down to me. So when I was asking questions about coffee, I didn't actually know much about coffee until I met Rory, because what I like about him is that he's not arrogant about coffee, and he's really nice, and I wish more people were like that. And I've made a conscious decision, and we have made a decision together, that that's something we're going to try and correct in Pause, and make it accessible. So if people come in and go, can I have a iced caramel latte, we're not going to be like, what? and then make them feel bad. That's rubbish. That ruins their day, and there's no need to put that energy out there. And if I were on the receiving end of it, I'd feel so small, and I'd never go back, and it'd put me off, and I'd go, maybe I will just go back to Starbucks, which is fine also. But if somebody's coming into a specialty coffee shop and they don't know much about coffee, there is no reason to belittle that person. You can be nice and warm and welcoming and explain, as we do very nicely, we don't use syrups because we use a certain grade of coffee, and the syrup would mask the taste of the coffee, but we can make you a Hemingway, we can make you a nice Spanish. Would you like to give it a try? And let us know what you think.
We can even put just a little bit of sugar in the bottom of your coffee, just to to balance it out a bit.
And those are conscious decisions built into our menu, the way that we speak to customers. Our menu's entirely vegetarian, most of it's vegan. Again, to make it accessible, so that people that have got dietary requirements, they don't feel out of place, or they don't feel like there isn't something for them. If somebody's a baptised Sikh, they can come in and have a Cinnabon, because that's not got any egg in it. it's designed to be accessible. And those conversations that we have are really, really important. And I think the day that we ever belittle somebody or make them feel bad for the choices they make, like, pause is over. Like, it's not. It was designed with purpose.
Yeah, it goes against your whole philosophy.
100%, yeah.
Completely.
It's because it's not nice to be in the end of it. Our friend Anisha went to Nottingham with her girlfriend. Went into a coffee shop, and I think her girlfriend asked for, what did she ask for? It was like some ridiculous, a syrupy drink, basically. Yeah. And they basically shouted her out of the shop, and it just literally ruined her whole day and ruined her trip to Nottingham. Jeez. Like, it's just
like a £4 drink.
Literally no need.
Yeah, like there's so much in that, isn't there? Because like you've got a group, you've got people who obviously don't get like feel like they don't get taken seriously enough in the job that they have, so they really get into like the heady sort of like cerebral sciencey side of coffee, but then they bring a lot of arrogance with it. Like we have like several people who work alongside us at Pause who, you know, do like the odd shift here and there, and they and if they mess up, yes, like it's a drink that I'm super passionate about and I enjoy, and I get very enthusiastic and I love to talk to customers about. But then when you get it wrong, just take a step back and realise that it's just a coffee. Like, just take that moment to realise, like, nobody died, like nobody, like you haven't scolded anyone. Like, there's a lot worse things that can happen in a coffee shop. It's a drink, you know. And then with like, you know, when Farah's talking about, you know, like when people just go back to Starbucks and Costa, as much as we can like not like those companies, what we do wouldn't be possible without them. They opened up a market in the same way that, like, I don't think you could have Michelin like food or restaurants if you didn't have like McDonald's. Like, people, like the idea of going out and having food and the ritual of all of that. The reason we're able to have like higher quality stuff is because like there's a lot more available, like on lots of different levels. The difference being that obviously, like, even at the top end of coffee shops, things are more accessible money wise than in other areas. But there's always going to be a parallel. There's always another side to whatever the business is that you're running. And you probably need them. You probably need them to be around, because if Costa and Starbucks weren't around, we'd have to explain to everybody what a latte was. Yeah. We'd have to explain what a flat white was. So like those adverts and stuff like that, they, in some ways, they're quite helpful.
Yeah, that's good. I've got to find out. Did your friend like Bora?
Yeah. She did. Yeah.
I've been sitting there, I've been thinking, I don't know if she likes it or not.
Why wouldn't she? Bora's great.
Yeah.
Bora's fantastic.
I've never been. I would like to go.
It's very good.
It's good. The cake.
I think I like their ethos as much as anything else.
Yeah, they give a lot of the money back. And...
yeah, they're always in like Africa and stuff doing charity work, and
oh wow,
they're really good.
Yeah, they are really good. But it really pissed me off. There's a Costa over the road, and I'm just like, why have you gone there? You could have just gone here. This is an amazing coffee shop just here. And you've crossed the road to go to fucking Costa.
It's a gateway. Maybe they start on the Costa and then eventually make their way across the road.
Yeah,
it is a gateway. I started off in Nero.
We all started.
Then I went to Starbucks, and then I went to York's.
Yeah.
Urban, 6-8, Faculty briefly, Quarter Horse, Saint. Pause.
So you went from trying a coffee to owning a coffee shop.
Yeah. Slippery slope.
Yeah.
Watch out. Be careful.
I think York's was my gateway as well into independent coffee.
I just really liked their handwritten sign in the window. I think it was beer, coffee, and pizza.
Yeah.
I was like, two of those things are my jam.
And then Saint. I was in Saint today, actually. Great coffee.
So good.
Yeah.
Great food.
The bagels.
I had two today.
I'm so jealous.
The pastrami ones.
I had, because I was on a course around the corner from there, so I had breakfast before I went into the course. I had the bacon one, which was unbelievable, avocado and stuff, and then I had the Reuben for lunch.
Yeah.
What happy day.
You need a knife and fork, and I felt like an idiot eating a bagel with a knife and fork, but it's that messy, and I've got a beard, and I was in like a meeting, so I was like, oh man, I don't need that mess, but unbelievable. And their coffee is really good.
Yeah. And their staff are super friendly as well. So Lydia and I used to work together at Urban Coffee.
Yeah.
For a very small amount of time, and but what she's done with Saint, and I used to know Will, who owned Saint before that, and I don't know if you know, but Jeff, who owns Faculty, used to was the original proprietor of Saint when it was called Saint Coffee, Saint Cafe. So Jeff used to own it, and then a guy called Will Banks had it, and then that's kind of where everybody kind of got used to the idea that they did like good food, and people would go along. And then Lydia's taken it over and added just like a whole new level to it.
I loved it when it was Saint Cafe, and I thought the breakfast was incredible. And then when Lydia bought it, I didn't think she could make it better, but she did.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Like the fact that they prepare everything in house, like they make all their bagels, they make the pastrami, they're making all their sauces. Like it's a huge amount of work, but God, it makes such a huge difference.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think it's my favourite coffee shop to go to. That's not ours.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for what we do at the shop, I think Saint is my favourite coffee shop to go to.
Definitely.
Yeah, just
It kind of feels closer to like what they have in Melbourne and that kind of thing. Like.
the food is great, the coffee is great, and the service is super warm and friendly. You feel totally at ease there. I used to work with a couple of the women who work there now at different venues in Birmingham, and when I found out that they joined the team at Saint Kitchen, I was like, now I have to go, because I love their personalities. I love how they create safe space for people. So like Nat, who works there, and Izzy, who incidentally is also an illustrator and did like all of our like signage, like all of our menus and our A-frames, are people I've known for years, and they're just brilliant. They're just great people. Like Lydia's just taking it to
really
a place that's really.
Have you been to her
beautiful.
place in Leamington?
No, it's always been so
Warwick
busy.
Street. Yeah, Warwick Street Kitchen's great.
Really busy. But it's next
Leamington's
to
great for
Libertine as
coffee.
well.
Pardon?
It's next to Libertine, so
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. Leamington's, I think, really underrated for.
It's a cracking little place.
It's
isn't it?
so great for coffee. We had a day where we just went. I think we went to Spa Town, Warwick Street Kitchen. It's just a great place to just while away a day, and have like some good food, go for a walk, get some coffee. It's really nice.
Like going for food is like the best adventure, right? Going for food and cake and coffee and all of that sort of stuff. Like going out and being like, we're gonna see what we get. We're just gonna pick an area. We know it's got like a few independents in it. We're just gonna go and have a look. And then I ended up having a conversation with like the head barista at Spa Town, who was like super excited that people had come in to like talk coffee. Warwick Street Kitchen was just delicious.
That was the day you taught me about how to taste coffee.
Oh
Yeah, we had filters,
Yeah.
and I didn't know you could do coffee tasting. Every day's a school day.
Yeah.
It's in the sense that they do a coffee tasting there. Like,
No. If you go somewhere with Rory, you will do a coffee tasting without it being part of any structured day.
I want to say that I'm not a
He was like,
caricature of
does it
myself.
taste like? He was like, I'm getting blueberries, and I was like, what? It's a coffee. And he was like, no, you can taste it, because we had filters. And I'd never had a filter coffee before, so I pretended to know what I was talking about. I had no idea. I totally guessed it. I got it all wrong, but he was so polite that he was like, oh yeah, no, I can see how you might think that.
that takes a while to develop that kind of, because I always like I read the description that comes on the beans, and I'm like,
I just guessed.
Yeah.
if you say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a fine line, because like some coffee places, if you buy coffee from some places, they'll slap anything on the bag if it'll make you buy it, and that's just taking a gamble and trying to buy some coffee and stuff. But you're right, it does take a while. So I used to work as a barista and also as like a roaster for I don't know if you've been to Ngopi in the centre of town, the Indonesian cafe. If you haven't been, it's an absolute must.
Yeah.
It's Indonesian owned. All the coffees they use are Indonesian. They roast in-house themselves. So they're actually a roaster. They've got a 1 kilo roaster in the window that they only use on Sundays. The food is phenomenal. Like it's a wholly Indonesian menu. And it's just a good place to like lose an afternoon, like trying a load of stuff. But in roasting, you have to learn how to like. It's a way of really kind of like honing your tasting ability, because you're looking for tastes that you don't want in coffee as much as figuring out what it tastes like. Because if you're the person roasting it, you have to be like, okay, it tastes like these things. Put that on the bag, because then you can sell it to people accurately. So like when we're buying coffee for pours, I'm looking at the notes on the coffees and stuff, and we're going, right, that sounds good. And also I know what Farah likes as well in terms of coffee. And then I also know what she's baking, so we're making it so that they complement each other. If I know that you're working on a load of new Cinnabuffin flavours and I know what they are, the coffees are going to reflect that. They're not going to taste the same. They're going to have contrasting flavours, but they're going to be complementary.
Because you don't roast your own coffee.
Yeah, no, we don't.
So you get it? Do you get it local or?
So we shop up and down the UK at the moment. We get a few bits that are a little bit more local, but just personally, I like that level of choice and showcasing lots of different roasteries, because I think it shows your customers that there is a breadth of knowledge here that's undiscovered, and actually if you want to dip your toe in and learn more, we're here to have that conversation. So I mean, currently we have some coffee from Obadiah in Edinburgh, which are a brilliant little roastery there. We've had stuff from 100 House, who we love, who are out in Shropshire, and they do some fantastic coffees.
Oh, nice.
They're really, really great. And they've supported us with like our equipment and everything as well, which is
Have you
great.
seen that one in Snowdonia? I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but it's DYFI.
DYF.
They've got a roastery like right on the coast up in Snowdonia. I've always told myself I'm going to go there, but
That's really cool. I hadn't heard of that, no.
From there, it's really nice.
Really good.
Yeah, really good.
I'll message them and get some samples in.
Yeah,
I'll send you the link to their
That'd be great, yeah.
Instagram.
I think we get like different coffee in every 10 days or so.
Yeah.
What's cool about it is so coffee grows seasonally over the course of the year. So like different countries will produce at different times of the year. So quite often at the moment we're getting a lot of natural Costa Rican in, and so lots of different roasteries will buy the same coffee, and then when you get it in, you're like, oh, it tastes completely different based on how different people have roasted it. So I find that quite interesting. Because every time you're like, oh, we've got these are the tasting notes, and I'm like, it's another natural Costa Rican, but it tastes completely different. I find that fascinating, because it's that human input that's changed what is essentially the same raw product, and I think that's really cool. So over the course of the year, like where our coffee comes in from will change depending on what's in season. And yeah, that's really awesome. But yeah, it's cool. We get to showcase loads of like UK roasteries. We'd like to get stuff in from Europe. I really like Drop Coffee. Are they Copenhagen?
Stockholm.
Gardelli is an Italian roaster, which does really cool coffee.
Yeah, they're mad. Nomad in Barcelona, who are just absolute fire.
Manhattan.
From the Netherlands, from Rotterdam.
But it's just quite hard to get stuff in from Europe at the moment. So that's
I wonder why.
a
Yeah.
logistical issue.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Let's not talk politics.
Let's not. It's just upsetting. So at the moment, we're focusing on local roasters
Yeah,
from the UK.
do you know what? I instantly regretted asking that question, because we've said this before a few times. Local, when you're in England or in the UK, everywhere's pretty much local because we're only a
So
small
we're
country.
tiny.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
of course it's local. I think that's what I was meaning, was do you use a different variety of different places?
Yeah,
or
we
do you
Yeah,
stick
like
to
every
one?
week, he's getting coffee in from different places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obadiah
it's good.
was the most so because I'm a child, every time he said I've got coffee in from Obadiah, I shouted Obadiah like it was from Iron Man. So it actually took about a week for him to tell me what coffee we had in, because he couldn't get a word in.
No.
Because I'd shout Obadiah and then start laughing and then walk off.
And it wasn't that I just kept telling you.
Was it a natural Costa Rican?
I would just say, oh, the Obadiah's got Obadiah, like
Tony Stark built this in a cave. And that was our conversation about coffee for literally 5 days.
And then eventually she went, I guess I should know what the coffee is that we've got in at the moment. And I went, yeah, but I'm not saying the name anymore. This is the type of coffee that
I
we've
had
got
to
in
look at
from.
the email confirmation to see what he'd ordered. We keep it fun.
Yeah.
So we've been very coffee orientated.
Yeah, let's
I
stop
want to
talking about
hear
coffee.
about the famous Cinnabuffin. How did that come about? Did you invent them, or are they a
Yeah.
thing?
Yes, she did, and I won't hear her say anything other than this because she's going to try and be like super humble about it. Yes, she did. She did invent them.
Unbelievable.
Do you like them?
Oh, the Oreo Cinnabuffin.
Is that your
I had the
fave?
Biscoff as well. Biscoff's nice.
Yeah, I've had the plain one. That was fantastic.
The OG. Oh my
you.
god.
We're doing an autumn range soon. So we're going to do coffee and walnut.
Don't say there's pumpkin.
There's going to be a pumpkin spice latte cinnabon. We were talking about it on the way here, actually.
Yeah.
So I've decided there's going to be a cream cheese dip
Okay.
to scoop with it. Yeah.
So
And
how
then,
did it come about? This cinnamon?
so basically, I'd never really made cinnamon bun dough ever, and then I went to Amsterdam, I think at the end of 2019, and had from Scandinavian Embassy. I had a cinnamon bun and it was amazing, and I was just like, oh, I really want to make one of these. So I came home and just tried making cinnamon rolls as every recipe dictated. So you put it in a tray and then you prove it and then you bake it, and they were okay. And then I think I was making some cinnamon buns for Civic Square over at Port Loop because I had a vegan recipe, and they were like, can we have something vegan? And I was like, I can make these cinnamon buns. And then I had some dough left over and ended up not wanting to throw it away. And because they were vegan, I've got one of my best friends, Kendra, she doesn't have a lot of dairy. So I was like, oh, it's a vegan item. I'm going to make them into like little buns for her. And and it just came out awesome. So I then tinkered with that recipe some more, and it sort of became the cinnabon.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was purely chance, because I didn't have enough dough to put into a regular tray, so I made it in a smaller tray.
So what, did you just stick them out like one day thinking, we'll see how they go? And then...
Yeah, and then like I think there was one day where I couldn't get basically I had a little play with the recipe and the proving time, and then managed to get them to like a slightly different texture, and people seemed to really like them, so I kept making them. I didn't think they would take off.
Are they like your biggest seller?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
surprised.
purely accidental. You hungry now? Should have bought
I'm
some
starving.
with us.
Cookie?
Yeah, it was like just a series of events that led to the cinnabon as we know it, but they didn't always look like that.
Yeah, like you brought some out. There was a day where you went, I think we've got enough for today, and you left the dough,
And then it just went,
and it just the dough just
It had
expanded like crazy.
so I just baked it, and I was like, oh, what a waste. And then I tried it and I was like, oh my god, they taste so good.
Oh, they're even better. Oh, cool. So that's now part of the process.
Methods changed, so like the proving times changed. Yeah, that was accidental. Having some dough left over was accidental. Wanting to make it for my friend, which was the only reason I baked what I had left over quickly, led to the cinnabon.
There was a stage on a Saturday where you couldn't go on Instagram without seeing a story of it.
I'm so sorry.
It was brilliant. Oh, I love it.
It was-
I live for that.
Living through it was insane.
Yeah.
Because because obviously social media, people tag you in it to say that they were there.
Yeah.
And there was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday where it was like the first bank holiday we'd ever done, and it was crazy. It was unbelievably busy. It was brilliant, but it was also a little bit fly by the seat of your pants, up late, like having to like replan and all of that sort of stuff. And the story at one point, when you see some people's stories and it's just dots along the top because there's so many stories, because we would share everybody having a cinnabon, and everybody was just like, there's a picture, like they're all like taking selfies with them outside the shop and everything. It was
By the
all
way,
accident-
I don't understand why they're so popular. I genuinely don't.
I definitely do, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I make them because people like them, and I enjoy baking them, and it's nice to do different flavours. But if I'm totally honest with you, I still don't really understand.
You'd rather have a brownie.
No. I
Farah's like savoury over sweet.
yeah. Now, sadly,
What?
yeah. Become a baker. If you want to get rid of your sweet teeth, I'm savoury, so I want the olive tapenade from Simpsons.
Oh, that's amazing.
I could eat a whole tray of those.
Every
I
day.
actually did a shift on a Sunday in the restaurant. Leah was like, come down, just see what it's like. I'll give you a taste of what real hard work feels like. Spoiler if it's horrible. And I had one of the first things I did was getting the tapenades ready in the morning, and the temptation just to be like,
Eat it all.
I'll be over there
That's
with
so
these.
nice.
They're
Yeah.
so good.
Oh god.
Fresh out of the oven, crispy, brilliant.
But I think that's part of the thing that makes you an incredible baker, is that because she's leans more towards savoury than sweet, like on a personal level. I've never had a dessert from Farah in the entire time that we've been doing Pause that I was just like, that is like on your teeth too sweet. When you eat something and you bite into it and you feel like the enamel on your teeth disintegrate. It's never happened. There's a savoury edge to everything that she bakes, and therein lies like a balance. Like it's not too sweet, it's sweet enough.
Yeah.
And I think that the temptation for a lot of baking, whether it's home or professionally or whatever, is that a lot of people lean into like, well, it's got to be super sweet and it's got to be like there's tons of sugar in it and everything, and I've never found that to be the case with anything you've made.
I think it's really odd that I think American baking gets a really bad rep for being like too sweet. If you said like really, really sweet, you think, oh, like an American dessert. But actually, I do use a lot of American recipes as like my research, and then I try things and tweak them. But I've got loads of dessert books from American writers, and they always add salt to everything sweet. It's in there because it's also a flavour enhancer. And then, so I do make a point of adding salt to things because it balances the sweetness. You're not just getting this overload. And then playing around with like different textures and flavours and bringing in inspiration from like travel. So I really love the food scene in Amsterdam. I really love Berlin. Went and had some amazing cakes at the Barn and Bonanza. So, and all of those, you know, they use different flavours to complement things. So I think one of the best things I had over there, first was a croissant with like really, really, really dark chocolate in it. And I'm a big fan of really super dark chocolate. And then these peanut cookies that were almost like Anzac cookies.
Oh, it was like an Anzac on each side, and then it had like
jam in the middle.
Yeah.
So for me, that was the time that I realised you can do like a really small range of cake really, really well, rather than having like a sweet shop that people can choose from. I think the Barn only do 3 things at any one time, but they're all excellent. And that's sort of what I'm trying to do is have a narrow range, but make sure that everything that you do is the best version of itself. So like a brownie that's like really fudgy, really decadent, really rich, but not too sweet. And then like a blondie that I'm really, really happy with. And then like awesome cookies. So at the moment I'm really enjoying making cookies, playing around with those. And the elements that I'm bringing into those are things like ground walnuts, ground almonds, to give like bite rather than going, right, I'm going to add chocolate and sugar. And that's going to be the base of my cookie. So it's playing around with different elements that I'm really enjoying at the moment. So the menu's going to change. It changes every couple of weeks, depending on what coffee we've got and what's in season. So yeah, it's just at the moment, whether our customers like it or not, they are going to come on this baking journey with me because we're not even a year in, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
But Cinnabuff, they'll always.
Cinnabuffins will stay as long as people want them. Because it's not about me, is it? It's about what people want. And so as long as there's a demand for them, I will keep baking them because there's nothing more therapeutic than rolling out cinnamon buns. I can tell you that for free.
Obviously, Stirchley was always going to be a short-term thing. It wasn't forever. That came to an end. Did you already have the plan in place to move to Bourneville?
It was like maybe on the cards. I think Jordan had approached Rory. Maybe was it about a week before we closed?
So
Jordan
from Isherwood,
Isherwood & Co. I'd gotten a message saying, "Hi, I got your number from somebody else. We're going to be opening a store here. Wonder what you thought." But yeah, it literally came like a week before we closed, and we knew we were closing, and we knew that we were basically there month to month, and then we got the call from Artifact saying, "Hey, we need the space back so that we can begin starting to get ready to reopen." So we'd kind of just gone, right, well, we'll have a look around and we'll see what's available, and we'd, to be fair, we'd looked at a couple of sites in Stirchley, and it really upset. It was really upsetting because they were hideously expensive and in total disrepair. So Stirchley became, as like a young business that was less than 6 months old, was completely out of the realms of us being able to stay. And we still get people now that say like, "Oh, we miss you in Stirchley, and is there any chance that you'll come back and stuff?" And obviously we don't know that, but there was no way of us being able to stay there. And then Jordan turned around and said, "Hey, why don't you have a look? This is what we're thinking." We both went down and had a look at the space.
Yeah, but I don't think that was until like August. We had the summer off. Yeah, I think we had about 6 weeks off, and then went to look around. And again, that was another really quick turnaround.
Yeah. It was less than a month.
Yeah.
And there was far more to do for this site than there was for the last one, because we were quite lucky in that Artefact had a coffee machine and some equipment and a bar built, and we went to Isherwood and Co, and they went, "So this is the space we've allocated you," and there was nothing. And we went, "Right, okay, we've got to do that bit now too."
It looked a lot smaller than how it's turned out, actually. I remember looking at the floor because there was like, it was marked out, and I was like, "That's tiny," and we built on that space, and we've got everything that we want in it.
So you weighed out for the best. It's good restraints. And I think I spoke about it before, but have you read that book, A Beautiful Constraint?
No.
So sometimes when you're put in a corner, it kind of works for the best. Or when
We literally were put in a corner.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful corner it is. And
Surrounded by flowers.
surrounded by flowers, it's
Whereas
pink.
if you had this massive space, you might just made a balls of it. You might have. Probably wouldn't have.
Maybe that this will be our thing, that it will pop up in like tiny small spaces.
Is this a pop-up or is it a long
No,
term?
we're
that's
here.
what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
It's a long-term thing.
Here indefinitely. I actually had a knitting lesson yesterday from my friend's mum, which I would recommend, by the way. Good for mindfulness. And she said that she'd love to have a knitting studio where she could do classes with really great coffee. And I was like, I think you might be on something there. She said that she used to go to a class in Solihull called Stitch and Bitch. And it was like a knitting morning where everybody came along and just had a gossip while they were knitting.
I've got a friend who's like, I want to do chess mornings. I want to do chess
chesspresso.
morning, and he calls it chesspresso.
Chesspresso.
Brilliant.
Ben,
Please don't anybody steal that.
what? Yeah.
steal that,
It's Ben from Riggs Fitness.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he says it ever so casually, like he comes in and he's like, "So when are we doing chesspresso?"
But it's 3 elements. It's got to be a gym, a coffee shop, and chessboards. So it's chesspresso.
Chestpresso.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
I think we'll see more of it. You see it all the time in Europe. Like spaces are like multifunctional, multi-purpose, and weird. I've seen this in Spain and Amsterdam. You go to a tiny coffee shop and they've got literally seats going up the walls, and I love it. It's so weird. It's such a like quirky use of space that I really hope that if we open up somewhere else, it's equally weird. Not that Isherwood is weird, but do you know what I mean? Like it's just it's not quite what you expect.
Yeah, I think it's just like it's
quirky.
atypical. Like it's not every coffee shop that I like in the UK. It's either like hardwood and like metal, or it's like brickwork, old chalkboards. You know, like it, and that's kind of what is the
industrial.
The industrial look is very much what the UK coffee scene is looking for at the moment. But the places that kind of stand out and make people go, "Oh wow," are more atypical and kind of go against the grain.
And this is what happens when you have like a girl that's like helping design, because like most coffee shops are run by boys and the ones that are run by girls are different. So Noppy looks different because you've got Elmira, State looks different because you've got Lydia, and I just think it's really refreshing to have like different inputs and different perspectives, and that's what I love about our space, that it doesn't look like anywhere else in Birmingham.
Yeah,
I don't think it's better, I just think it's different.
No, it's really
it's really pretty.
I think it was the day you opened soft launch or something like
yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, it was like the day
shop
off.
was beautiful.
It's gorgeous, and we can't take credit for that. Like Jordan's done like most of it, but the bits that we designed were like the way the shelvings are all open, because we had to use height because we don't have a lot of floor space. And every morning when I go in to take the Cinnabuffins in, and there's like flowers outside and there's tables outside, I just think it's so pretty, and I just feel really lucky to work there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Long may it continue.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Amazing. I feel like that's a nice kind of place to finish up. We've took a lot of your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Before we go, Carl, you got questions?
I've always got
Carl
my
always does
questions.
just a few rapid fire questions at the end, just so everyone gets a quick glance at yours.
Cool.
Plus, I'm just dead nosy and like knowing the answers to the questions anyway. So don't think about it too much. Just say whatever comes to your head. What's your favourite movie?
I don't have one. I hate these questions. It depends on my mood. I don't have one single. Like, I'll say something stupid like Bridget Jones' Diary, but it's not my favourite film. I don't have one. Rory, what's yours?
Oh.
It's too stressful. Die Hard.
See, that's so cool.
That's a good. If someone said that, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good choice.
I do love Die Hard. I've got 4 of them on DVD, but nobody watches DVDs anymore. I don't think I even have a DVD player.
No, we got given a DVD, and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to put this in? The past.
My iPhone got stolen a couple of years ago, and I walked in to my friend's bar with like my headphones in, and she was like, "What are you connected to?" And I pulled out an iPod, and I was like, "The past," because that's all I could listen to music on while they replaced it.
Oh my god.
Favorite film?
Oh god. I'm so shit. Like she's completely thrown me here. I don't know. I like High Society, which is like if you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
Paddington 2.
Yeah, that is actually really good.
So good.
That is funny. I love what's his name? He's 4 weddings and a funeral, guys.
I know Hugh Grant.
Hugh
yeah.
Grant. Oh, he's
really,
stunning.
really
So
good.
good.
Isn't it? Really good. My
I
daughter
like
loves that
the
film.
song that he does at the end when he's in prison. It's really flamboyant.
What's your favourite band or DJ or artist?
Damien Rice.
Damien Rice.
Post Malone.
His O album is my favourite album of all time. I've listened to it on 12 different sets of headphones, and every type of headphones gives like a different listening experience. You hear different stuff in it.
And over every speaker at every coffee shop you've ever worked at.
Oh my god, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah. Cannonball or Blower's Daughter in every damn shop.
And you're going Post Malone.
Post Malone, I think. Yeah, I love his voice.
What's your favourite big fast food chain?
McDonald's.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for McDonald's.
Popular
Mackey's.
choice. What's your
What's
favourite?
your order?
What's yours? Fillet of fish.
You know what? Surprising amount of people. I've never really met
It
anyone that's ever
is
had it, but
a
people do
banger.
Do
order
you know
it.
what, I'm going to be honest, like, I don't know if I've ever had one.
I've seen one.
I will take you for one
I
now.
might have to try. I might have to try one.
Absolutely.
I've converted him to them.
I was gonna say, like, you looked at Farah then, like, really? You're gonna look at me? Honestly, the fillet of fish is the goat,
Is
and
it
I won't
really?
like
Might
Leo
be
will
trying.
like people like Leo will say other things, but
No,
you
we
like
got Leo hooked on them because he was like, I said to Leo, I was like, you've got to try the fillet of fish at Mackey's, it's amazing. And he was like, what a dead order. And I was like, no, honestly, please try it. And so he was like, all right, next time we go to McDonald's. This was before like we were really good friends.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think this is what cemented our friendship. But I took him to McDonald's and then we went in and ordered. And then I suddenly got really nervous because he's a chef at a really good restaurant. And he was,
Just dawn you,
and
I'm taking a
he turned around and he
Michelin
went,
star chef.
he went, this better not be shit. And I was like, oh my God, what if it's shit? And then he started looking at like the app to see what fish they used. Because he was like, I wonder what fish it is. What fish is it? And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's like pollock or like something else. And then I couldn't find it. And he was like, why isn't it on the menu? What is it? What's the fish? And I just got really stressed. But he tried it and he loved it. And his only comment was, it tastes better with lettuce. So now he always orders it with lettuce. So you can have a fillet of fish a la Leo, but you ask for lettuce. A, because he likes the taste of it. And B, because it guarantees that they'll make it fresh. So that's a Leo Couture hack.
That's a good
Or
one.
just so you know, if you go to McDonald's in the Greater Birmingham area, you can't order a la Leo Couture.
They don't know.
Like they don't know who it is. Okay.
But, add lettuce because he's like, it's always hotter then.
That's a good one.
What's your favourite?
I went for KFC.
Ooh.
I love fried chicken.
Oh.
Proper mad on it. Even KFC, just
Oh, yeah, I
all
said
good.
Five Guys, didn't I?
You put five guys down here. That's a good choice.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
Solid
Five
choice.
Guys.
Milkshake, the milkshake.
Yeah, I've never had the milkshake.
The Crushams.
No, Crushham's is
Five
KFC.
Guys
Five Guys milkshake is the.
I don't think I've ever had one.
You can.
Oh, you can have all of them if you want,
have
right?
everything that's on the menu. You can
Oh, you can have a
every
peanut
topping
butter and
on-
chocolate and Oreo one, and it's bomb.
with a bacon crumb. Unbelievable.
I'd never thought of that. You're a genius.
And then you dip your fries in the milkshake.
I'm gonna go out eating with you.
So
This is great. Like I'll go anywhere with you.
So
He
I
would
feel
leave the table.
I feel guilty just going in and having a burger. So if to get a milkshake as well on the side, I'd be like, nah, it's too much. Unless I'm hungover,
I'd rather the milkshake than the burger, to be honest.
I'd rather have 2 burgers.
Anyway,
What's your favourite takeaway?
My current favourite is Sakura from Asia Food Hall. They're on delivery and they do banging sushi. Really good. I love a sushi takeout.
I do like sushi.
I'm gonna say something that makes everybody just like really sad. I love a Dixie.
Rory, it made you so ill last week. You were so ill for like a day and a half. How can you? What?
Do you know what? It's part of it is like I know it's crazy. I know. And I know, like, nobody. It's going to make sense to nobody. But there's something about, like, the spicy batter that they put on the chicken wings.
I've broken up with Dixie. Me and Dixie are done. I'm never having another one again.
Honestly.
You must love it if it made you that ill, and you're still like, no, I still want another one.
It's just nostalgic. Like, do you know what? It's like, if it was, like, the most nostalgic thing ever, it's like a Dixie or a Caspian, right? Those two things are just, like, they're trash.
Oh no, I love
But, like,
Caspian.
yeah, but it's trash, right?
Mediterranean with the dynamite on the pizza.
I love that you've got your order locked ready to go.
I know. As soon as someone says Caspian, I'm like, right, Caspian, half Caspian special, half Mediterranean. Thank you very much.
I like
impressed.
Caspian will put French fries into a small pizza box, add mayonnaise and cheese, close it for you. £3 and chicken, £3.50. 5 minutes later, it's all melted. It's incredible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
Shit's good though.
it's
Yeah.
incredible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a box of shit.
No, God no.
unless it makes you
Can that be the title for this podcast, please? It's going to throw everyone.
A box of shit.
There's nothing wrong with the box.
Where'd you go for your box of shit?
Well, apparently I go to Dixie and everyone laughs about it.
Hey, I used to be Team Dixie, but after last week, I'm not.
It wasn't so much the Dixie, it was Farah
You
Rory.
know, I know. Rory, come on.
Do better.
What's your favourite bar in Birmingham?
Couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It
an
used to
easy
be
one.
1881.
Yeah,
Then
hands
it
up. It
closed.
used to be
I love
1881.
I'm very
I used to
excited
love it
for
there.
False Idols to open.
Yeah, I mean,
gonna be sick.
Really good. Rob's,
Yeah.
It's genius.
I just want to see Rob and Kendra like back working, doing what they do best.
Just killing it on every possible level. Like that's what they do. That's what they're amazing at. And it's just gonna be cool to see them do it again.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see. We are friends with them, but we don't know much about False Idols because the way that they like to work is that they go away, do their thing, and then they're like, and it's ready, here you go. So we hopefully will be there for opening night. But I'm just genuinely really excited to. I think it's going to be incredible.
I'll go like midday on a Tuesday if I have to. Like,
But when they're not even
like,
open. They won't be open.
yeah. And also, like, both of us went to 1881 the first time that we went. We didn't actually, like, I knew them very, very tangentially. And that first time that I went there, because we both went together, it was just like an absolute game changer.
Yeah,
like,
blew
it was
my
just
mind
like,
the
I was
first
just
time
like,
I went there.
this is what cocktails are. Okay, I'm in. I'm a cocktail guy now. Like, I will drink these. But seeing as they are not open, and also because there's phenomenal work being done there, yeah, couch. Yeah.
The thing that they share is that friendly service they've got their pre-batch drinks, so they're not away making a drink, and then but you get the contact time, you get the chat, you get that personal touch, and yeah.
What's your favourite food destination in the world?
What in the world? I thought you were going to say Birmingham.
No, you're allowed the world here.
So far for me, Berlin. Had the best ramen of my life at Kokolo.
Really?
Found this awesome like Korean burger place. Best pan au chocolat of my life. And I lived in Paris for a year. Was in Berlin. So good. It had like a glaze on it.
Yeah. Jakarta, like as like a food capital, is just absolutely mad. You
Yeah.
can order food from a street vendor who literally, like, on an Uber eat at like adjacent app called Gojek, and you go, you know, this got this one guy who makes this one thing sat on the side of the road. Yeah, can I get 3 of those, please? And you bring them over here, and they go, yeah, sure, no worries. The breadth of food is ridiculous, and the flavors just like I could literally just eat it all the. Like, there's so much going on all the time because it's like the 3rd most populated city in the world, and it's just the food reflects that. And it's just
Having said that, I think we're very lucky in Birmingham as well. Like, you've got Chinatown, you've got the Baltic Triangle, you've got like hidden spots absolutely everywhere.
There's a few things missing that I'd like in the city, but other than that, like I'd love a really good ramen place, like an amazing ramen.
Yeah.
Like Kokolo in Berlin is the best ramen I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like hands down. We got there for when they opened at 12. I think we got there at like 12:05. We tried to get there as soon as possible, and there was a queue of 15 people in front of us. Like, you got to be doing something right.
I had like the veggie ramen, and I was convinced it had meat in it.
Yeah.
Because it was the depth on it was insane, but it was like a mushroom.
There was miso and stuff as well.
Miso like soup.
I've queued for a good. I went to Japan and I queued for a good 45 minutes regularly to get a good ramen.
Oh, man.
Like, it's one of my favourite foods, and I don't know why it's not more popular.
Yeah.
It's insane.
If it's the best place for food in Birmingham, by the way, I could go every day to Asia Food Hall.
Yeah.
I could go to that hawker's yard every single day, and I'd be so happy.
You're a big fan of that, aren't you?
Yeah, I love Asia. I miss the dude though upstairs that was doing the noodles.
Noodles.
Yeah, it was really spicy. Really spicy. Uyghur.
Oh, the Uyghur place. Oh, the guy with the skewers. Because he used to do like, that's how we know that place is because they used to do skewers and they were like 50p or £1 a pop, and they were absolutely unreal. They were like lamb skewers, and then they did like chicken gizzard ones, and they were
like
mad.
a crispy, spicy beef with these noodles, but they were like udon noodles, but like thicker, like they were like so thick. He was just there, like hand pulling these noodles, and it was in a really spicy broth. It was like a different heat though. Like, it wasn't like numbing. I feel uncomfortable. It was like a little bit painful, but it was a bit like addictive as well. You were like, oh, this is nice. Like, it was just a real kind of obviously warmth to it, but in more than just the heat sense. I mean, like.
What's the place in George that we went to?
Kopi Tiam.
Yeah, I went there on I went to see Laura Marlin on Tuesday, was it?
Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday? No, it was Monday. And I went there first because I'd heard loads of people bang on about how good this place
Yeah, they
was.
do pancake noodles. They do like a prawn dish with pancake noodles, which is incredible. That's like proper, I'm having a bad day. This is what I want. I've got food.
Yeah, it is good there.
Awesome. And that's us, isn't it? Yeah, so like to go back to go out in this place as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you
Cheers.
for having us.